So for this activity, what I need you to do is I need you to make a table here. And the table should look just like this with temperature, and we're going to call these ice cream sales. So we'll assume that a company kept track of their sales for an extended period of time. Can you put these temperatures in here? The temperature, the first one was 74. The next one's 86, 70, 78, 70, 90, 82, 82, 94, 98, and 90. Okay, so those are on some particular days, the temperature that it was outside. And when it was 74 degrees, this company sold 12 ice cream cones. And when it was 86, they sold 18. And 70 is 12, and then 18, and then 14, and 16. Make sure you've got these lined up. This one goes with this one, this one with this one, this one with this one. So you can kind of see, make sure they're straight across. At 82, the first 82 should be 13. The next one is 16. The next one, 94, is 18. And then 21 and 22. And I'll highlight those also here, every other one, so you can make sure that they're lined up correctly. Okay? The first thing that we need to do is we need to plot these on a coordinate plane. So to plot these on a coordinate plane, you need to decide the scale you're going to use here when you plot it. You should look at your smallest temperature and your biggest temperature. And you at least need to go from that one to the other. So the smallest temperature we have here, it looks like is 70. In fact, we see it a couple times. And our biggest temperature, it looks like one day it got up to 98. This is the x-axis data. So on your x-axis, you need to go from 70 to 98 at least. We need to do the same thing with sales. We need to look at our smallest amount of sales and our biggest amount of sales. And it looks like our smallest one, when we look here, the worst day we had was a 12 for selling. And when we look here, it looks like the best day we had was a 22. That is your y-axis. So on your y-axis, you somehow have to go from 12 to 22. So when we plot those, then they should, after you get done plotting, look something like this. You see down here, I went from 70 to 98. And I didn't go by ones because I thought that would be too much. So I went by fours to get there. And then on my ice cream sales, I went from 10 to 22. I went to 24 actually, but 10 to 22, we really don't need this 24. And I went by twos. Can you do the same thing on your paper? Can you go ahead and copy this down or plot the points? I'm getting these points right from here, the temperature and the sales. So go ahead and plot these and pause this until they're done. Okay, you should have this plotted now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line of best fit, through this to make a prediction. So we can kind of take a guess what our line of best fit is going to look like. It's going to look something like this, a line that kind of goes through the middle of these things the best they can. Okay? But we want to do it a little bit more accurate than that, and our calculator can actually find the line of best fit by doing something called linear regression, which you guys have done a lot of so far. So I'm going to, well, before I get rid of that line, I'd say you know, maybe the line goes right here, maybe it's about right there. I know it doesn't go there because that's not through the middle of the points. And it doesn't necessarily have to hit any points. It just has to have about the same amount on top as on bottom here. So we'll see if we can come up with a little bit more accurate line. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to go back to our data. In our data here, what we need to do is we need to take this and we need to enter it into our calculator. So right now, go ahead and enter that data into your stat. Put this right here in L1 and put this right here in L2. When you're done, well, until you get done doing that, go ahead and pause this until you get done. Okay, now you should be done entering that data in. If you do a linear regression on this, so if you hit stat, arrow over, hit number 4, you'll see I think the function that matches this is y equals, and I'm going to round here a little bit, 0.28x minus 6.9. Hopefully you can see why I rounded to 0.28. I think you had a 0.279, which rounds to 0.28. I rounded to negative 6.9 for the same reason if you look at your regression. Okay, so there's our function. Okay, now if you type that function into your calculator, so hit y equals and type that function in, then go ahead and look at your table once you've got that function typed in. Okay, so now you've got your table. And I'm just going to copy a couple points from the table that you should be looking at right now. Now I'm going to jump all the way to 70. At 70, you should have a 12.7. The next one I'm going to jump to is 78. At 78, it should say 14.94. I'm going to jump to 86 and look at 86. At 86, you should have a 17.18. And then I'm going to do one last one. I'm going to do 94. At 94, you should have 19.42. That's coming right from your calculator. All right, well, I'm going to plot these points on that table right there, or on that graph right there. So I'll do this in red. At 70, 12.17. So here's 70. Here's 13. So 12.7 is about right there. I'm just going to kind of take a guess. About right there. At 78, it's almost 15. So 78, I'm going to go up to what I think is about 15, about right there. At 86, I go to 17.18. 86, 17 is right here. 17.18 is just a little bit more, so about right there. And then at 94, 94 is 19.42. So there's 19, and then 0.42 is about 19 and a half, so about right there. So it looks like I have a line that is going to look something like, I'll go through those points there. There is my line of best fit. I might be able to move that a little bit here. So that's the line that kind of represents this graph. Now, why would we want to use that line? Well, because from that line we can make predictions. We should now be able to predict if it is 80 degrees, how many ice cream cones should we sell? Even though we don't see an 80 here, and we didn't have an 80 on our table here at all, but we should be able to, from this line of best fit, predict that. So on your calculator, you should go to 80, and if you look at it, it should say, let me scroll down here just a little bit, next to 80 it should say that you would sell, if it's 80 degrees, you can assume that you would sell 15 and a half ice cream cones, so somewhere between 15 and 16. We also, what if we get an extremely hot day that it's like 110 degrees? 110 degrees, so way down here, 110. So if it's 110 degrees, you should be able to look at your line of best fit from your calculator. So go to 110, and on 110 you should see 23.9. 23.9, so I guess that would be 24 ice cream cones. So using our line of best fit, we should be able to predict, make some predictions about some data that we didn't even gather. Now, in this next one, you're going to be asked about interpolation and extrapolation. And when you're asked that question on the 8.2 Act 2 activity, I never told you what it was. I want you, when you ask that question, to either get your phone out or get a computer and look up what the difference is. Okay, so see if you can find that information yourself instead of me telling you. Okay? So now you are ready for your Act 2.